Hello and welcome to a Cannes edition of the Optimist Brief. I'm Jill Smith, CEO of Iris Americas, part of the Trail Agency Network, and I'm here with Rachel Huff, Boston-based consultant of Victoire & Co. Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Yes. If you've watched the Optimist Brief before, you know this is all about optimism within the industry. And wanted to kick off with a question about what are you optimistic about? And then we'll talk a little bit about Cannes.
Well, I'm going to throw you off with my answer to this. So I actually don't consider myself an optimist. I consider myself a realist.
Okay.
So I got this really good feedback early in my career when I was working agency side from my boss, who's become really a career mentor to me. And it was in one of my annual reviews, and she gave me the feedback that at the time, when I was sharing feedback to clients, I actually came across a little pessimistic. So I would say, no, that doesn't work. No, that doesn't work. We can't do that because I am a realist. But she said that reads as very negative to the clients, and as their agency partners, we have to always be really thinking about solutions, right?
Yeah.
We can't just say no. So super helpful feedback to learn very early on. So I do still consider myself a realist, but I recognize that you need to be, you need to bring some optimism to it. But it's about optimism through a realistic lens. So I guess your question was about what am I most optimistic about?
But I guess it's sort of like you can be a realist, but how do you package it?
Yeah. So I think...
Yes, what do you...
No, but I think for me, I think I'm really optimistic about moving beyond, I hate that I'm going to say this, but I'm going to bring up AI.
Please.
I think a lot of the conversations around AI have been overly optimistic and not realistic enough. So I'm optimistic about the fact that I find those conversations are pulling back. We're coming down to earth a little bit more and having more realistic conversations about what it is actually capable of doing now. Still thinking about what's possible down the road, but less sort of, we can still have these big ideas, but always through a lens of what's realistic.
Yeah. I think we also know so much more this year. Like if I think about last year and all the conversations about AI, and that permeated all of last year. So not even just at Cannes, but the conversations that are happening now, it's almost like a double click into a level of sophistication and understanding about what is possible.
Yeah.
And it feels nice to understand how to use it, how you're implementing it, and how to guide clients. Because I think if we're honest, last year we were probably faking it a little bit.
Yeah, I think everyone has been for a while.
Yeah. But I do feel like the conversations we're having now are a lot more informed. So yeah, I agree with you on that.
And I think I've heard a number of conversations about real use cases, and that's been wonderful to actually start to hear some of those. The other thing that's been really funny for me, I heard somebody say, it was last night, somebody said, oh, I'm excited, I'm going to the show tonight. And I said, oh, remind me, which show is tonight? Is it Ray tonight? Or is Tiesto? And he goes, no, not that show. The festival, like the show that we're all here for. I'm excited to see the work.
100%.
And it was just funny for me. It was this moment of like, oh yeah, that's what we're all here about. And yet, how much has the conversation moved away from the actual work, which is really what we're all here to celebrate.
And do you go to the award ceremony at night?
I'm not. I have not been going to the award ceremony, but that's a miss. I know. I would love to go next year.
Go on Thursday.
Yeah.
It's if you're going to go, I would say go on Thursday. But last year, so Alex Imbrantes is our new CCO. He joined us last year in July, and we kind of our first interaction with our team and him was last Cannes. And myself and the managing director for North America went with him every night to the awards last year and this year. And I was so inspired seeing the work, and it also is a real in-your-face illustration of where the bar is creatively.
Yes, absolutely.
And you're also able to see how AI is showing up in that conversation, but actually, again, in the work. What's the case study? How did you develop it?
Yep.
So really inspiring, though.
No, and I think that's, the wonderful thing is that we can access the work in so many other ways without being here in person, but it is a good reminder, I think, for all of us that was really what we're here to celebrate. But as you know, like there's just, this festival is wonderful, but it inspires, sometimes in a negative way, it can inspire FOMO. Like I don't consider myself somebody who gets FOMO, but there's so many things happening at any given moment that you're having to choose between 17 panels that you want to see, meeting with a client, meeting with some fantastic agencies to connect with them in person, hearing the work. There's too much going on.
What have you seen that's really stood out to you? Because there's been a lot of celebrities this year at Cannes. Oprah was here. Mel Robbins, the list goes on.
Yeah.
But what have you seen that you were like, it really gave you pause?
I mean, I did see Lando Norris today. I ran over to go see him because I had to get that photo moment to send back to my husband.
Right.
That's the the real answer to that question. But the real answer to that question is I've just been in some like much smaller panels. I moderated one on Monday that we got into a great conversation. It was myself, a CMO, and a procurement leader talking about what really happens behind the scenes in agency pitches. And that was so much fun. It was for an agency audience, and it was just like a real conversation. Cool. The audience was engaging with us. It was great. Yeah, great. But I've seen some others that have been smaller, not at some of the big stages. Those are the conversations that, back to the AI point, like where people are actually having real conversations, and you can tell it's not AI talking points, it's the real.
Yeah, they have a perspective. Yeah, I totally hear that. Going to your business, and so the art of the consultant and the role that consultants play within agency and brand or business relationship is so crucial, but it's also changed a lot.
Yeah.
You have really innovated the space. I mean, there are a lot of consultants that have been players for 50 years.
Absolutely,
really long time. And so you're a newer entrant and a real disruptor. Can you talk a bit about how you continue to innovate?
Yeah, I mean, I grew up agency side. I worked at PR agencies, so I was leading some really fun consumer PR accounts, and then in my time at agency switched into a business development leadership role. So I was on the agency side of, I should have a count. Like, I wish I knew the exact number, but it's got to be hundreds of pitches. Some of them, more of a conversation, like an organic conversation with the client where it just leads to winning the business, and others that were, massive, sometimes procurement-led or consultant-led reviews that we didn't really get a lot of interaction with the clients. So I like to think that I bring the empathy of having been in the agency shoes, the baggage of like all of the bad that I've seen in my career, but then the clients are my clients. So I'm not working for the agencies, I'm working for the clients. So I'm always approaching it with the client's best interest in mind. But I find that sometimes these processes that the clients are just like copying and pasting a process that they've done in the past.
It just doesn't fit anymore.
It doesn't fit anymore, and it's unnecessarily challenging for the agencies. And I hear things from agencies. I heard something very recently from an agency who said to me, we just got this RFP. It was a great brand. It was an opportunity that we would have been a slam dunk for, but it wasn't consultant led. The client was running it themselves, and we could tell by the process that we saw that we had no shot of winning this. So that's sort of my approach to it, is like, how can I do it in a way that's going to be fair to the agencies, but going to get the clients what they ultimately need in the end too.
Yeah, because it's a consultant, you're sort of doing the due diligence, you're ensuring you have the best agencies in the mix that are a fit for what the client needs.
Exactly.
So you've done so much of the hard yards, and then I think reducing the process in past, traditionally these processes have been months and months and months, and that is not the way the market works anymore.
No.
And so that shift, I think, and having a consultant recognize that shift, I mean, hugely important.
Yeah, and honestly, the clients, I mean, God, everyone talks about how busy they are, but client CMOs are busier truly than they ever have been before, I think. There's just so much more
that they're
responsible for so much more, and they're figuring out, AI and data and this and that, and like all these things that they weren't responsible for in the past. So there's so much on their plates. They don't have time to run, incredibly, they don't have time to be talking with, dozens of agencies and knowing the market. And as much as they would love to be out there talking to so many agencies, that's
just not possible.
It's not possible. So I think having a consultant that can do that for them, but then that is definitely one piece of it. I think the other piece of it is just having somebody, it's so helpful to have somebody from outside of the business come in with that outside lens to take a look and really evaluate what they actually need in the first place. So they're not just like making the same mistakes that they made last time around and hiring an agency that's not going to be the right fit for them.
Based off of your experience, what makes a great agency partner? Like, what are you looking for when you're evaluating agencies, and then consistently you see that winning?
Yeah, I mean, every client has different needs for sure. So I wouldn't say there's like one quality of an agency that's going to make them the perfect fit for every client.
Right.
But with that said, I think one of the things that I hear a lot as a complaint when clients are moving away from an agency is communication, lack of communication.
Yeah.
I'm definitely, I guess I would say I have a bias toward good communication because I come from a PR and comms background. So I know the value of good communications, but treating a client agency relationship just like any other relationship, and things are, bumps are going to come along in the road, and you have to recognize them when they happen and take time to actually pause and have those tough conversations. So examples of things that I'll hear from clients are, a big one that I hear often is team turnover, right? We're really upset. The senior person who is working on our account, our client lead has left the agency. We don't know who our person is anymore.
Yes.
But honestly, at the end of the day, when I start asking questions about digging in a little more on that, it usually is a communication issue. It's that the agency wasn't transparent, didn't say, hey,
this person's going to be leaving.
And by the way, we don't have it figured out. It's okay. You can say, we don't know who we're going to replace them with because we don't have that person waiting in the sidelines. We want to find the right fit for your business, and saying, let's pause to talk about
what your
worked,
needs,
what didn't,
how would you like to be involved in the process,
all of those things. It's communication. So I think that is often what issues with communication are often what cause problems, and then the best agency client relationships, it's because they do a really good job communicating regularly and frequently.
Amazing. Just final hot takes on Cannes. What are you excited for the rest of the week, and then also just for the rest of the year? I feel like the beginning of this year was weird. There was a lot of market disruptions. I feel like every consultant we've spoken to has said the year was slow to start, but now we're really ramping up. So would love to get, what are you excited about for the rest of the week, but also for the rest of the year? How are you feeling? Are you feeling optimistic about how we'll close out?
Yeah, so I'm excited for the fact that I think a lot of people are going to be leaving tomorrow morning, and I'm not. So I'm just going to
enjoy the space.
Enjoy the space. Personally, I'm excited about very early Friday morning. I'm heading to Paris to meet my husband and kids.
Very fun.
So for their first international trip, so I'm excited to show them a little more, a little more of the world outside of our little bubble. That'll be great to expose them to that. So lots of exciting stuff in the next, few days ahead, and then the year ahead. There's so much good stuff happening. I agree with you. I think it's really picked up a lot. I think that there are a lot of searches happening at the moment. A lot more coming. I've done a lot in B2B recently, which has been really interesting for me. I have done a lot in the past with consumer brands, but I think there's a lot of innovation happening in the B2B space, in financial services, in pharma, that's more, depending on the company, but there's a lot happening in B2B and tech. So I'm just excited to see more of what they're doing because there's a lot of innovation happening there.
There is a lot of innovation. We've talked about that a lot internally. It's the quiet scalers. And B2B, such complex customer segmentation. They're so ahead of the game in terms of AI being embedded in their business.
Absolutely.
I always reference Caterpillar. It's love Caterpillar as a brand. They've had AI or automated vehicles they've been working with automation since the 90s. And so as a company, 100-year-old company, they had their best quarter in 100 years in Q4. It's like no one's aware of these sort of
there's a lot of opportunity to tell those stories. I think that's really exciting. I think, like I said, everyone gets excited about the consumer brands. I mean, we've seen some of them have a really big presence here, but it's cool to see some disruption in some new categories. I'm excited to see more of that.
Agree. Amazing. Well, thank you so much, Rachel,
Thanks
for the time.
for having me. What a great space.
Yeah, this is great. All right, signing out. Optimist Brief. See you soon.
Just a little handshake.
Oh, a handshake? My hand is so sweaty.
That's okay.
Sorry.
Mine too. That's all right. Cool.